My name is Mrs. Woods.
Ryan Krushka.
Mr. Klimzak.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Detective Lieutenant Brian Bazinski.
Hi, I'm Mrs. LaRue.
I am Mrs. Mills.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Glavin, and I am a history teacher here at Wheeler High School.
I am Jay Hanaway. I run the auditorium.
Hello.
Hi.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Mrs. Woods.
And I have a couple questions for you. And the first one is, what was your first job?
My first job was when I was 15 years old, and I worked at a toy store in the mall at my hometown in Muscatine, Iowa, and I was just a salesperson, but it was called KV Toys.
Go for it. All right. Hello. Introduce yourself.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Detective Lieutenant Brian Bazinski.
It's a long name.
I know, right? Sometimes study hall extraordinaire at Wheeler High School.
That's nice. All right, detective. What was your first job?
My first job was working on Echo Golf Course in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I did like maintenance, really picked up the trash in the morning, raked some bunkers, and then they gave me a picture of what they call like a Florida holly that attaches to palm trees, and they said go kill everyone on the course. So they gave me a solid 6 months worth of work right out the gate. So.
My first job, I worked at a place called Goose's Christmas Tree Farm.
So the first thing that I ever did and got paid was cleaning horse stalls for a lady down the road. It was like the best. I loved it because I was that like weird horse girl. Was 100% me. And so I got paid per stall. So like when she would go on vacation, and she had like 34 horse stalls in this barn, it was huge. So she'd go on vacation over like Christmas, and Christmas morning I'd go out there and muck all of these stalls, and it was amazing. I got to like pet all of the horses. I was living my dream. It was great. But the first taxable job I ever had was at the A&W in LaPorte. We made root beer in-house, and we had a drive-in, and it was like a bunch of teenage girls. We were not responsible enough to run that place, but somehow we did. It was a ton of fun, but it was kind of disastrous at the same time. We thought it was fun. I'll say that.
My first job, I worked at a restaurant called The Dish in Valpo. I was a dishwasher. That was always made for comedy, being a dishwasher at The Dish.
My first job was at a place probably like Zao Island. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Like it's called Cherville Golf and Fun Center. All right, it was an arcade, mini golf, and like batting cages and go-karts.
My first job, I was 15, and I was teaching preschool gymnastics to 2 and 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds.
My first job was junior year in college. I got paid to make rental houses look good for potential renters. We had a big insurance agent. He was friends with us and things like that. And he paid us to do the landscaping, everything outside, in order to get new renters for the new school year.
What was your hourly rate?
I think it was $5.25 an hour.
Making more than all the guys that walked through here.
Minimum wage, and it was taxed, so I guess.
Worst customers?
In that position, I didn't really deal with the customers too much, but the servers were real jerks. When they'd like come back and just like throw dishes at you, it was not great, but it's okay.
So, would you consider that your worst experience?
Yeah, I mean, that was the worst thing about that job, other than dealing with other people's half-eaten food that you have to wash off the plates. It's really a gross job. And I started there because I wanted to go into culinary arts when I was younger, and that job taught me that I did not want to go into culinary arts. I like cooking, but I like cooking in my own time, and restaurants are super fast-paced. And then I also don't like dealing with other people's half-eaten food.
What was the uniform like?
All right, when I first started, I wore a blue shirt, navy blue, that said Cherville Golf and Fun Center, black pants or black shorts, and then a black visor. But then you're looking at yours truly, at 17, I became a manager. And then you got to wear the polo with khakis. And let me tell you, I went up to $5.50 an hour.
Did you wear a uniform?
Oh yeah, yeah. We had actually the uniform was not bad because when I started, A&W started making cheese curds, and the whole like Got Milk campaign was really big then, and so all of our shirts said Got Curds. we thought they were really funny. And then because it was really cool to double layer your shirts and roll up the sleeves so the color of the shirt underneath would show on the sleeves, and you would put the one on the inside out, so that when you rolled it, the A&W would be the right side out. But then it was like you're in a kitchen with it was so hot wearing 2 cotton thick shirts. It was all worth it though. We looked very cute all of the time. I'll say that.
Stylish and sweaty.
Stylish and sweaty. That's the method I live by, yes.
How was your boss and manager or coworkers and stuff?
My coworkers were nice. They were all of my gymnastics coaches because I was doing gymnastics at that time. And then my boss was actually my mom. She was the preschool director at the time. And so she took over from the previous lady. But I really enjoyed working with my mom, and we got a little bit of time to spend together because I was so busy elsewhere.
How much do you make an hour?
It was roughly per house, I would say maybe $100 a house.
A couple root customers.
Yeah, you got any good stories for that? Or?
Well, yeah, so there's a big tree, and I was 14, and I was trying to load it on this guy's car, and I scratched his car.
Ooh.
And he yelled at me and made me feel bad about it.
Was it a nice car?
It was a Mercedes.
Oh, that's
SUV, so it was. The scratches weren't like that long though.
That's yeah. All right.
What was your hourly rate?
I really can't remember 100% for sure, but I know it was minimum wage, and back then I think it was like $4 something an hour, maybe like $4.25 an hour. It was not good pay.
What did you get paid?
Oh, you guys are going to be jealous. $5.15 an hour. I started it at 16 years old.
So, were you fired? Did
I
you
was
quit?
not fired. I did quit. My boss at the time made fun of me because I quit to go work at McDonald's. And I went and worked at McDonald's. And it was a much better job.
Okay, I must know. What was like your worst customer?
Worst customer. All right, so on Wednesdays, we would do double ticket Wednesdays. And I wasn't the smartest, but I used to count how much people would spend for tokens to win prizes. And in my head, I'd think, just go buy the prize, okay? But they'd spend so much money. So this one lady came in. I said, okay, you have 5,000 tickets. She said no. She threw a water bottle at me, said she had no 5,050 tickets. Okay? So I said, ma'am, I don't really care. So I gave her 5,500 tickets. But she had the audacity to throw something at me. So then when I was cleaning off one of her, this is really mean to me. When I was cleaning off one of her prizes, I accidentally sprayed Windex at her face.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
So, would you consider that your worst experience?
no. One of my worst experiences was we were cleaning the bathrooms. Every hour we had to clean the bathrooms. And somebody decided that the toilets weren't good enough, and they went number 2 on the floor. And we had to play rock, paper, scissors to see who had to clean it up. And a poor boy named Joe had to clean it up. That was disgusting.
Have you ever eaten soap? Like it just flying around in the air. Have you ever like gotten a whiff of it?
Oh, I've got one out of the cup of that. Go, yeah.
So, contrary to popular belief, it's not like the cartoons. You aren't covered in suds and there aren't bubbles floating everywhere. I have not accidentally eaten soap, no.
What was your hourly rate?
I think I made $5.35 when I started, and then when they bumped it up to like $7, we were like living at large. It was a big deal. We could afford the Dollar Theater and snacks in LaPorte. Do you stick to the floor? Yes. Do they mop? No. They leaf blow all of the crap out of it instead. But you pay for an experience. It was worth it.
Any customers or any golfers that were just out to get you?
The thing that's still, the only adverse thing I had that still sticks in my mind, what is it, 26 years later is the second hole. I picked up the garbage can, and there was the 2 largest spiders I've ever seen living underneath it. And like, I swear I could hear them walking. Like, that's how big they were. And the second hole garbage can never got emptied again.
All right. Well, that's
Were
all I
there
got.
were there any groundhogs out to get you?
You know, that course that they filmed that on was down the street, but I never saw the groundhogs.
Okay.
Any alligators?
There are plenty of alligators, but not on the golf course that I ever saw anyway. So.
Did you like your boss or manager?
Yeah, I did. I remember I really liked him. I remember that we had like an overall store manager, but then we also had a shift manager, and they were all really nice. I was only 15, so it was a good experience though. I really liked it.
So this weekend, Bearcat Theater Company is presenting Working the Musical. It's a show that goes through the lives of regular, everyday working people. It was originally a book that was written in the 1970s, but then it was updated as a musical in 2012, but it's set in Chicago, so it's actually local. They talk about local things, and it's really neat to see. The show plays November 11th, 12th, and 13th. Friday and Saturday are going to be at 7 o'clock. Sunday is at 2. You can purchase tickets right now online at bearcattheatre.org, and that's theater, theatre.org. Or you can purchase them at the door. New now, we have a computer system program that we can take cards at the door as well. So cash, check, or cards at the door. And we're really excited to present the show for you. These students have worked really hard. Miss Mack, who directed the show, has worked really hard. Miss Leonard has been part of it as the music director. Mr. Miller is running the pit and putting all of that together, and then I did all of the set design, costume work, and tech design. So we're really excited for you to come see it. Come support your fellow students. They've worked really hard on it.
It's definitely a fun show. It's a lot of cool songs. There's definitely some good dancing and stuff. It really does show like everyone's true, how everyone has it differently in life, and you guys should definitely come see it this weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I love it. That was perfect.